A few weeks ago, we completely decluttered this closet, but it still wasn't working for our home. So instead of letting this space go to waste, I'm turning it into something we actually need, a pantry. Today, we're finally transforming this hallway closet into a pantry. And if you watched that video a few weeks ago, then you'll know that this space was doing a little bit of everything, but not doing any of it well. It had cookware that we didn't use very often, extra bedding, cleaning supplies, games, just a mixture of things that didn't really belong together. And with our kitchen being so limited on storage, I knew that something just had to change. So instead of trying to make more space where there isn't any, I'm choosing to use what I already have and turn this into something that actually serves our home better. But I'm gonna be so honest with you right now. This process wasn't quick and it definitely wasn't perfect. I had to empty everything out, clean it up, rethink the layout, and really take the time to figure out what we actually needed before going out and buying anything. So in this video, I'll be walking you through that entire process, from completely reorganizing my hallway closet to a quick shop with me at Walmart, and then finally bringing it all together into a pantry that not only feels functional but peaceful. And to offer you a little extra encouragement, somewhere in the middle of this video, I do also want to share a quick thought that's been on my heart about the process of growth. Because just like this space that I have been in process of decluttering and organizing it, our walks with God are also a lifelong process. Sometimes God has to clear things out, rearrange, and even get rid of in order to make room for something better. Now that I have these shelves all cleared out, I wanted to take the opportunity to give them a good wipe down, because although they don't look too bad, there definitely are some scuffs and a little bit of dust that has accumulated over these past 2 weeks. So I wanted to take this opportunity to give them a quick wipe down. And to do this, I am using the pink stuff, just the multi-purpose spray, but it was during this quick clean that I ended up using the last of it. So if you have any kind of multi-purpose spray that you really like for purposes like this, I would love it if you can let me know your recommendations down below. More specifically, if you have any recommendations for a cleaner that smells amazing, but also one where the smell lasts a while too and doesn't just fade away after a few minutes. Now that the shelves are wiped down, I also wanted to take this opportunity to clean the floor in this hallway closet. I do try to make sure that I vacuum this space regularly, but I don't really remember the last time I mopped it, so I wanted just to take this opportunity while it's nice and empty to get that done. Okay, so now that it's time to organize everything back into this closet, I'm thinking that I can go ahead and put the towels and bedding up here at the top. Then below that, I can store some of our food, our cleaning supplies, and maybe down below, I can use that to store some of our drinks. So let's see how that turns out. And these are all of our extra cooking utensils that I'm gonna need to figure out how to fit in there, along with the toilet paper, the water that we actually use for baking, our Instant Pot, and the basket of dirty cleaning towels. And in this back room is where I set all of our towels just for the meantime. I also need to find somewhere for our games, put these cleaning supplies back into our new pantry, along with these sodas. And this corner we have actually been using as somewhat of a pantry. We have some bulk cleaning supplies like our dishwasher pods, Q-tips, toilet bowl cleaners, napkins, some canned food that you see. Also on this bottom shelf, we have plenty of rice and beans and some of those extra products that we got from Costco. And over to my left are a bunch of just home decor, extra pieces of home decor that I am saving for future projects, and I'm hoping to possibly put it into this wooden cabinet that we have here, but we'll see how it goes. Instead of putting our extra bedding and towels up at this top shelf like I originally planned, I actually decided to put our toiletries and paper products in this top shelf. Since starting to shop at Costco, we are buying in bulk, not only in our groceries, but also in our just household supplies. We're hoping that by buying in bulk, things are gonna last us a lot longer considering that there's just 2 of us, and basically just save us money in the long run. So we do have plenty of paper towels, toilet paper, and napkins to last us a good while. And while we were at Costco, we did also go ahead and buy a good amount of dog food and dog treats that I did go ahead and portion out and vacuum seal a couple videos ago. However, I'm not sure if I got a good seal or not. I had some bags that maintain their shape, that they still look nice and tight and vacuum sealed, and then I have other bags that seem to have loosened up. But later on this day, my husband pointed out that it doesn't seem like any air is even escaping, so we're not sure if there's a really small leak that we can't identify, or if just the food somehow settled in the bag differently. If you guys have any tips on vacuum sealing, or if you know what I did wrong, please let me know down in the comments below. I would really appreciate any tips or advice that you have. But it was at this point that I actually forgot about the napkins that I had and decided to put the dog food and treats up at this top right corner. And after that, it was up to me to figure out the rest. Like I said in the beginning, this project is definitely a process. So you're gonna see me putting stuff on the shelves, taking it back off, and putting something else in its place. I'm just really trying to make sure that I get the best use out of this space and make it as functional as possible. Before I just threw all of my cleaning supplies back into the pantry, I wanted to quickly go through them and get rid of anything that I don't really use. Now, I did declutter the space a while back, so this shouldn't take me too long, but there definitely were a few items that I wanted to get rid of just to make sure that everything that I put back into this pantry is stuff that I actually will be using. As I've been working through this space, I've just been thinking about John chapter 15, where Jesus talks about being the vine and we are the branches. And something that really stood out to me is how he says that the branches that do bear fruit will be pruned so that they can bear even more fruit. And I think that sometimes when we're in a season like that, where things feel uncomfortable or things aren't working the way that we expected them to, it can be really easy to get discouraged. But pruning isn't a sign that something's wrong necessarily. It's actually a sign that God is working, that He's refining, adjusting, and preparing us for more. And Jesus also tells us how to bear fruit, and that's by abiding in Him, staying close to Him, trusting Him, being in His Word, talking to Him, and choosing to walk in obedience, not out of pressure or condemnation, but out of love. And I've honestly been thinking about that even with this pantry, because I've had to move things around more than once, try different systems, and rethink what's actually going to work for me. And it would be really easy to get frustrated and feel like I'm not doing it quote unquote right. But it's all a part of the process. And the same is true in our walk with God. He knows exactly where we are, what we need, and what we're ready for. He's not rushing the process, and we don't need to either. So if you're in a season where things feel a little messy or uncertain, just stay connected to Him. Stay in the process, because He knows what He's doing. And after a bunch of organizing and reorganizing, I think I figured out how I want to set this up. Up at the top here, we have all of our paper products, our paper towels, our toilet paper, and our napkins. This next row is where I'm planning to have some of the food. And then beneath that, I want to have our extra cookware and cleaning supplies, but for this row we have our excess rice and beans, followed by our canned goods. And then to the right of that, we just have some of those extra items that we picked up at Costco. And then here down below on the last shelf and the floor, we have Maddie's dog food, her treats, and the rest of her supplies. And down here on the floor, we do have my husband's addiction, aka Coke Zero. I am hoping to just save this space for any other drinks that we may buy in the future, along with that basket where I keep the dirty towels. And before I completely call it quits for this day, there is still a couple of things that I have left to do in this back room. I was able to put a good amount of stuff back into the pantry, and since I had this space cleared up, I wanted to go ahead and put all of my home decor in that spot instead of that wooden cupboard that you see. So with a little editing magic, there you go. Not too bad, right? So at least for now, this is where I'm going to be planning on keeping these items. So here I have my bath towels. These top two I actually got from Costco, and they are so nice, and for only $6 to $7, they are such a steal. And right next to them we have some of my cleaning cloths and wash rags along with my iron. And then down below on this bottom shelf I have all of my home decor items that I am saving for future projects. And I did even take advantage of the floor space by putting some of those taller items laying on their sides. It is now the next day, and before I headed over to Walmart, I wanted to go ahead and make a list of some things that I would be needing to help me be a little bit better organized. And I also made sure to measure the height and the depth of my shelves because I knew I was already going to be needing some organization bins. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get a bin that was too tall and not going to be able to fit in my shelves. So I went ahead and got those measurements written down before I headed out. And I just want to give some glory to God here because I was definitely walking in the Spirit and truly benefiting from the fruit of the Spirit because I definitely wanted to buy so many things that I saw. Who knew Walmart could be such a good spot to find home decor? I feel like they're really leveling it up. I wanted just about one or two of everything. But thank God for temperance because it definitely saved me a lot of money. Which makes me very curious, is Walmart a place that you think of when you need home decor? Or where do you go to shop? Let me know down below. And after practicing a good amount of self-control, I finally made it over to the bathroom section. Kind of weird, right? But what I ended up finding in this aisle was a cleaning caddy. I've been wanting one of these for a while, and these were only a few dollars, so I figured I'd pick one up. I also saw a lot of different organizers, but I wasn't sure how well it was going to fit my space, so I just waited to see what else the store had. And from there I went over to the laundry section and ended up finding this basket that you see here. The colors worked perfectly with the palette that I'm using throughout my home, and I felt like it was a more affordable option than large wicker baskets that I was hoping to be able to find a good deal on, but kind of had my doubts about, to be honest. Then in the kitchen supply aisle, I found so many cute things, like this container for salt and honey. I even found a salt shaker that I'm actually planning to use for my baking soda when I use it to clean my mattress. And there were so many containers for me to choose from. There was a few there that I did have my eye on, but ultimately I did decide to choose this one. Now that I had the containers for my rice and beans that I was needing, it was time for me to look for some bins. And these foldable bins are just the ones I had in mind for those smaller, loose items in my pantry. So this is why I'm really glad I measured my shelves before I came to the store. It says this basket is 12.75 inches long. Sorry, 12.75 inches high, so my shelf is actually only 11 inches, so I'm actually not going to be able to fit this in my shelves and I was so tempted to get it, but I'm going to have to put them back and look for another option. And just to the left, I think I found my other option. This box is 10.75 inches high, which will fit in my shelf and is only $5 compared to the other one that I was thinking about, which is $18. So definitely worth measuring before you come. In this last aisle, there was just a couple more things that I wanted to pick up, which was a couple of baskets, or bins I should say, for my cleaning supplies. Now, even though there were so many cute baskets, wicker baskets, that were really hard to say no to, especially this white one. Oh, this thing was gorgeous. I absolutely love it, but for that price tag, I think I'm good. What I did end up finding was 2 plastic bins that were going to work out perfect for my cleaning supplies, so I went ahead and picked them up, especially for a better price. Now that I'm back at the house, before I started doing anything else, I wanted to make sure to get these 2 containers completely washed and set out to dry. These 2 are going to hold my rice and beans. So I figured it would be good for me to go ahead and wash them first. That way they have plenty of time to dry while I'm organizing everything else. And this is actually my first time owning any kind of containers like this, so I did have to read the instructions on how to wash it. But basically, you're just going to want to have this, you're going to want to make sure the handle is in the open position, which will then allow you to easily remove the seal from the top. And that way you can not only get a good clean, but allow everything to ventilate and dry properly. So as I'm putting everything together along with their bins and containers, this is where things started to change yet again from what I originally planned. So before I went to Walmart, I thought I had a pretty good idea of where everything was going to go. But once I started using the bins and putting all the smaller items together, it caused me to yet again rethink the layout. Some areas ended up freeing up more space than I expected, and then other things had to be moved around so that it didn't feel like bins were just randomly placed everywhere. I tried to keep most of the bins together on one shelf so that it looked a little more clean and put together, and then just adjusted everything else around that. It definitely took some trial and error, moving things around, stepping back, changing it again, but honestly, this has probably been my favorite part of the whole process. Just seeing everything slowly come together. And even though it's not completely done yet, it already feels so much better than before, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out so far. One thing I'm not totally sure about are those white bins for my cleaning supplies. Although I do like them and I think they work great for what I need them for, and it technically matches my color palette, but I don't know, I feel like it stands out a little more than I want it to. So as I've been watching back this footage, I'm actually considering maybe painting it just to help it blend in a little bit better. But you'll have to let me know what you think about that down in the comments below. Should I paint it? And if I do, what color do you think I should go with? Also, if you have any spray paint recommendations, please let me know, because I definitely want something that's actually gonna hold up over time. So for my bulk rice and beans, I knew I wanted to do something a little different since I have quite a bit of it. I actually decided to go ahead and split everything up into smaller portions and vacuum seal them just to make it a little more manageable and hopefully a better long-term storage solution. I made sure to really check through everything as thoroughly as I could because we have had these for a while and I was a little nervous about bugs. I think they're called pantry beetles if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not even gonna lie, I did have a little bit of a scare when I first pulled everything out because I saw some dark spots in the rice and just instantly assumed there was bugs in it. But thank God it just ended up being a few darker pieces of rice, so we're all good to go. So like I said, I went ahead and portioned everything out and got them all vacuum sealed, which I thought was going to be a really great solution for storing these long term, but it didn't quite work out the way I planned. So clearly that didn't go as planned. I'm pretty sure what happened is one of the pieces of rice actually punctured the bag when I was moving it and it ended up breaking the seal, which is a little frustrating because my whole goal with vacuum sealing was to have a more affordable option compared to buying a bunch of large airtight containers, which can be pretty pricey. So now I'm really rethinking this. If you guys have any tips or if you've done something similar in the past, please let me know what worked for you or if there's a better budget-friendly option that I should try instead. All right, here it is. It's all done, at least for this phase of the process. There are a few things that I still want to get, like I still want to get a rack for my cans and maybe just a couple more items, but this is gonna definitely do for now. I really think it's much better than it was. So here at the top, not much has changed today. All of our paper products are up there. I do have 2 new containers for our beans and our rice, and we definitely have a lot of beans and a lot of rice to go through. So if you have any kind of chili recipes or recipes that will help me use these up, I would really appreciate it if you would let me know down in the comments below. But this is our canned products, our excess items that we got from Costco because we do buy in bulk. So a lot of the stuff that we get comes in packs of 2 or 3. On this shelf is all of our nice and new storage bins. This is just gonna be for all of our smaller items, our smaller cooking accessories. I find that if you have a lot of random smaller items, they take up a lot less space if you can bunch them up into bins like these. And then we have our 2 plastic containers for all of my cleaning supplies. And I definitely wanted plastic instead of like a basket or cloth boxes like these, just in case something leaks. It's in a plastic bin and it's easier to clean up. This is my cleaning caddy. I have been definitely needing one of these instead of trying to carry everything individually from room to room. So that's gonna help with my future clean with me videos and just homemaking in general. My vacuum sealer does go here. I will be putting that back here in a few minutes. And then down below is all the dog food that I have vacuum sealed, the dog treats, and the overflow of the rice and beans that I also vacuum sealed. Well, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me today along this journey to turn this hallway closet into my pantry. Please let me know how you think I did down in the comments below, and I am looking forward to seeing you next week for another video. I promise you're not going to want to miss it.